it's Nicole, and today I'm doing such a great video. I've been very excited to do this since honestly the beginning of the year. I am doing the books that I read in 2020 with ratings and reviews. Thanks to quarantine and just honestly self-motivation, I was able to read 17 books this year, which is not a ton obviously, but in the past years recently I've literally read 0. So it was a really big accomplishment for me to be able to read 17 books in a year. I've read a lot of fiction, some self-help, some biography, and I just wanted to share with you guys the books that I read, and I'll also talk about my 2021 reading goals at the end of this video. So let's get right into it. So the first book that I read was The Defining Decade, which I'm sure majority of you have probably heard of. It's pretty popular with people in their 20s. It obviously is about being in your 20s. On Goodreads, I gave this book 5 stars. It was honestly very informational. It gave a lot of help on different aspects of your life. I think the last section is love. There's like education, there's career-wise. It like kind of breaks things that you'll experience in your 20s into different categories, and it just tells you a lot about yourself and how you will change and how you can impact the way that you change during your period from 20 to 30. So the second book that I read was Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. This book was released January 21st of 2020, and I read it in February. I read it like right after it was released. It was super cute. It was about this girl and this boy that kind of get into a Twitter war over their family's food recipes. Like they're both in like the restaurant industry, the food industry, and then they realize like they know each other, they go to the same school, and so that kind of all plays out. So it's a little like romance, little drama, young adult novel, and it was so cute. I gave it 5 stars. It was a really easy, light read. I think it was only like 350 pages, so I like whipped through it, and I would definitely recommend it. The next 3 books that I read, I'm just gonna lump them into a little group. I read the To All the Boys I Loved Before series. I am super late to this series, I know, but I don't know, I wasn't in, like I didn't even want to read fiction this year. Tweet Cute kind of opened the floodgates for that, and then I just read a ton. So obviously you all know what To All the Boys I Loved Before is about. If you don't, it's about a girl who writes love letters to her past loves that she's like never confessed her feelings to. The letters get out, they get mailed to the boys, and it all unravels from there. And that's kind of the basis of the first one, and then the series goes on with like her and the boy, and you know, throughout the whole series. I enjoyed those books so much. They were so good. I believe I gave all of them 5 stars. All the Boys I Loved Before, 5 stars. P.S. I Still Love You, 5 stars. And Always and Forever, Laura Jean, only 4 stars. I just think because it was kind of the ending, I don't know, there wasn't as much drama I feel like in the 3rd book. I'm probably forgetting because I definitely read these like beginning of quarantine. I don't know. Also, you all probably have like seen the Netflix movies and haven't read the books yet. If you've seen the movies and haven't read the books, I recommend you to read the books. If you've read the books and haven't seen the movie, I don't recommend the movie. It was very far off from the books. There were so many plot holes that made me angry. I could go on a rant about so many things for like 20 minutes probably. Am I still gonna watch the 3rd movie when it comes out? Yes, but I just love Peter Kavinsky, but we won't talk about that. We won't talk about that at all. So on to book number 6. I read You Are the Girl for the Job, Daring to Believe the God Who Calls You. The title to me was misleading because first of all, I only gave this book 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't, it kind of deviated from what I expected the book to be, so that kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth. I expected this book to be about finding your passion and what God has called you to do, like your purpose on the earth, like what you were meant to do in your life. But the book was actually about how to, like, you are the girl for the job, and the job is to speak the word of God and spread it to other people. So I didn't think it was going to be about that when I started it. So when I kind of like got further in, like the beginning I think was pretty good. I know there were some parts where it was what I expected, but then it got to like points where it was fully just talking about like how you were meant to spread for the word of God. It wasn't bad. I mean, if that's kind of what you're into, I fully recommend it. It was definitely a good book. It just wasn't what I thought I was getting into when I started it. So the next book on my list is probably my favorite book that I read this year. That's hard though, to be honest, it probably is. So I read Becoming Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel, and the Making of an American Imagination. Don't know if you know, probably don't. I like Dr. Seuss. Love The Grinch, love Dr. Seuss in general. Just, I don't know what it is, just really love his style of artwork and his characters and storytelling. Just love him. But this book was basically all about Dr. Seuss's life from when he was born all the way to when he dies, all about like the things that he did before he was a children's book writer, like the things that he did in college to get into his career and all those steps, and how he grew up, every step of like creating The Grinch, creating all the other books, The Cat in the Hat, all of that, and everything like woven in with his personal life. It took me a while to read. I think I took a break from it at one point. I think I read some books in between and just kind of took a break because it was so long. I'm just gonna read you my review because I feel like it summarizes my feelings about this book. A well-written and captivating book written to capture the fascinating life of an American icon. I am a huge Dr. Seuss fan and have been wanting to read this book for over a year. It did not disappoint. I enjoyed learning everything there is to know about one of my favorite authors and childhood hero, from his life and work pre-cat all the way to the final goodbye from the doctor. I learned so many things I didn't know and recommend this book to anyone that loved any of Dr. Seuss's books as they were growing up. Obviously, I gave that book 5 stars. So the next book that I read was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland / Through the Looking Glass. So this is technically 2 books, but it's like in one book. I am really obsessed with Alice in Wonderland, but I'd never read the book, like the actual story of it. I gave it 4 stars solely due to the fact that it was written so long ago that's like sometimes it was hard to understand. I'm just kinda dumb, I guess. You know what I mean? Like it's just written in older times, so sometimes it was a little difficult to read, but nothing too serious. It was a very bouncy novel. It just kind of like, you just easily hop from sentence to sentence in this book. It's just it flows really well. It was a really nice story, and even though I knew the like, you know the basic storyline of Alice in Wonderland because you've seen the movies, but you just learn so much more about the story. And I also never really knew the Through the Looking Glass story, and I was really interested to find out that Tweedledee and Tweedledum aren't even introduced in the first book. Like they're not even in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. They're in Through the Looking Glass. That was super interesting to me. Like I said, gave it 4 stars, but would definitely recommend. It's just a classic and a really fun read. Okay, next is another fiction book. This was the first book of a series that I read this year, and it is called Love and Gelato. It's from the Love and series by Jenna Evans Welch. I gave this book 5 stars. Oh, it was so great. So this story is about a girl who, her mom dies and she goes to Italy to some kind of family member, but basically while she's in Italy she has to find her dad. Yeah, she goes to live with her mom's best friend, and then through that she's trying to like find her dad because she finds out her dad is Italian. And my favorite thing about this book was that, one, it is set in Florence, Italy, which is one of my most favorite places in the world that I've ever been. It is so beautifully gorgeous. I love it so much. 2, as the little love story with the main character and some Italian boy gets unraveled, you also get the unraveling of her mom's love story with her dad and her other loves that she had throughout her time in Italy. Like the mom story unraveling has that entity of mystery, which I personally like because I'm not like, I don't want full-on gooky romance. Like I like to have kind of the drama mystery part raveled into it, and that did a really great job of putting that into this novel. I also read this book in 2 days. So it was very enjoyable, really loved it. Would definitely recommend this series. As the next book that I read this year was the second book of the Love and series. It is called Love and Luck. This one was my favorite book of the series. So the characters of this series, they don't transfer to the other books. So this book was a brand new character with a brand new story in another part of Europe. She was in Ireland for her aunt's wedding, and basically this story is about how she ends up going on this wild road trip with her brother and her brother's friend that he knew from the internet that lived in Ireland. And I like can't give away more than that, and it might like reveal some things, but I think I liked it the most solely due to the fact that romance was on the back burner in this book, and it was really just like an adventure kind of novel, and I enjoyed it so much. It was my favorite one of of the series and I gave it 5 stars, of course. It was so cute. Okay, next. Now this was my favorite series of the year that I read, you guys. I can't. This is also by the same author that wrote To All the Boys I Loved Before, Jenny Han. This is her earlier series called The Summer I Turned Pretty. First of all I have to say is this series deserves the hype that To All the Boys I Loved Before has. If this series was turned into Netflix movies, y'all would never hear the end of it from me. So start hyping this up so we can get a Netflix movie, because I would cry tears of joy. So basically this story is about a girl. Her name is Belly. That's her nickname. Belly spends the summer at the little beach house that she spends every summer at with her mom, her brother, her mom's best friend, and then that woman's 2 sons. Like obviously there's like love triangle. The whole premise is that they're a little bit older than her, but this is like the first year that she's like really transformed to a young woman, and so they like notice her, and she's been in love with one of them for so long, and she like is actually like kind of getting his attention now. I know I just told y'all that I don't enjoy romance, but I love this series so much. I just can't. And that's one of 3. Clearly, I gave this book 5 stars, and we'll get back to that series in a second, but in between reading that series, I did read The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. This book was recommended to me by my boyfriend. I feel like this is kind of a classic. I actually listened to the audiobook format of this book. Basically, this story is about a autistic, I believe, boy who's probably like 10, 12, maybe a little younger, around that age, and it's his narration of his mind, of what goes through as he's trying to discover who killed his neighbor's dog in the nighttime. He's like investigating, even though his dad is telling him like, no, don't like look into it. Other things unravel, and I gave it 4 stars. It is another super bouncy book. Again, it flows really well. Maybe that's just because I listened to the audio version of it. It might have like flowed even better because of that. It probably did. I got a little bored in the middle section for a little bit, but I think the last like 5 or 6 chapters are really good. It really picks up with the storyline. It's just really interesting in the way that it's told through this boy's mind, and like how he feels about all these situations that are happening to him in his life, and how he's like taking them in and understanding them. Back to the series. So the second book in the Summer I Turned Pretty series is It's Not Summer Without You, which I'm not gonna like spoil this for y'all, but obviously the girl like love triangle. She picks one of the boys. So this one is kind of about like their relationship that winter, like after that summer. It just kind of recaps that and then pushes it to the next summer. So it like kind of flashbacks to the winter, because all of these books are set in the summer. So it's kind of about that. The love triangle comes back, all that stuff. I really can't say much about it without spoiling things for y'all. I could literally just like spoil so many different things in this book, and I don't want to because it's so good and I want all of you to read it because I loved it so much. That's basically the premise of the second book. I only gave this one 4 stars. I think this one's a little slower than the first one because it has a lot of flashing back to like winter. So the third book of the series is We'll Always Have Summer. I can't even get into this one. Like I literally cannot even get into the plotline of this because it's just gonna spoil so many things. But again, she's with one of the 2 boys, and I can't say anything else. She's just with one of the 2 boys. Things go down. It's a lot. This book is a lot. I think I whipped through this one. Yeah, I read this one in a day. Literally a day. But I gave it 5 stars because it was fantastic, and I was really sad that it was over though. You guys are so good. If you're gonna read any of these books from this like list that I'm giving you, go read that series. It deserves all the hype. So the next book that I read was a book called I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. I only gave this book 3 stars. It's definitely like a psychological thriller, and you don't realize that it's psychological until the end. This book is really eerie in the way that it's told. It's definitely a slow burn. The last pages of this book are terrifying. Like as I was reading it, I was scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. Basically the premise of this book is this girl is in the car with her boyfriend and she's thinking of ending things with him. She's thinking of breaking up with him on the way to go meet his parents for the first time, and they've been dating for a few months, but she's like, I don't think I want to be with him. I'm thinking of ending things. And definitely creepy. Definitely creepy. 3 stars. Definitely, I enjoyed it though. So then I read When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. This was also another audiobook that I listened to on Scribd. It was basically about a neighborhood in Brooklyn that is being gentrified, and they're kicking out and, you know, buying property from residents that have been there for decades and have lived there, you know, through generations of their families. There's 2 main characters and the chapters flip back and forth between them. One is a black woman, her name is Sydney, and then a white male named Theo. They team up and they're trying to like uncover things that are happening in the neighborhood and work together. There's honestly one big plot twist that I was like, geez Louise. But I gave it 4 stars. Probably, honestly, I think I would have given that one 4.5. So the last book of the year that I read was Love and Olives, the 3rd book of the Love and series by Jenna Evans Welch. I was so excited for this book to come out. It came out the beginning of November. I picked it up pretty soon after that. Compared to how much I loved Love and Gelato and Love and Luck, it just didn't stand out for me. I think the plot line I enjoyed a little more as it went on, but the characters in the beginning were so brash and just made me, I hated them. I loved the main character. I loved the girl that's in it. Her name is Olive. She now goes by Liv. Basically, the plot line is that Liv travels to Greece to meet her father that left her and her mother 10 years prior, I believe. She hasn't seen or talked to her dad in 10 years, and he left them because he's an Atlantis hunter and he Hi from present day Nicole. I literally published this video and then I realized that it exported incorrectly and totally cut off the ending. And I already deleted the clips because I didn't have any space on my computer to edit other videos, so I don't have any of the clips. But I just wanted to insert this and say that I gave Love and Olive 3 stars. It was my least favorite of the series. It made me really sad because I was really anticipating it so much. But that's about it. So my reading goal for 2021 is 25 books, and I definitely think I can hit it. I'm super excited to start reading. It's just gonna be a great reading year for me, you guys, and I hope you guys get some inspiration from this list and find some good recommendations and books that you are excited to read, whether it be from this list or not. Comment down below any book recommendations you may have for me. I'll literally read most anything, to be honest. Sorry that this cut off. I'm so upset, and I was so excited for this video, so I hate that this like brings the quality of it down. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to subscribe, give it a like, and like I said, leave a comment of a book rec down below if you have any, and I will see you guys in my next video. Happy 2021, guys. Bye.
Are you still there? To delete this message, what are you talking about?